In Panorama, policies and objects are organized under device groups, and these device groups can be children of other device groups. This allows policies and objects to be inherited and simplify the deployment across your organization. Today I'm going to talk about Panorama device group object precedence, or how those objects are inherited. Here I have two device groups, remote, site, and DC, and they are child device groups of the global device group. If I create an object in the global device group, this object is then inherited by all its child device groups. This can be very useful when you want to have the same object with the same value across multiple firewalls. But what if I need an object at one particular site or location to have a different value? I can use the override feature on a child device group object to override the value. Here, object A in the remote site device group has a different value than the DC device group. What if I want to prevent this from happening? Let's say I have role-based access control configured, and I want to prevent a firewall administrator who only has access to a specific device group from overriding important objects. I can go into the original object and check the box Disable Override, preventing any overrides on child device groups. If I want to make this a system-wide change on all current and future objects, there is another option. In the Panorama tab, under Panorama Settings, you can check the box Objects defined in ancestors will take higher precedence. This will make all existing overrides null, and the original object value will be inherited by all child device groups. This is a system-wide setting and is not generally recommended, so be careful, especially on a production instance. Let's go into Panorama and demonstrate this behavior. Here we are in Panorama. As you can see, I have the global device group and the DC device group and the remote site device group. So we're going to create an object. We'll do object A here in the global device group. Give it an IP address. And then we'll do a commit and push it out to our firewalls. And while that's happening, I'll move over to this firewall and monitor the push from there. The push is complete, and if we refresh, you can see that object A has been pushed down from Panorama with our 1041.11 IP address. Now, if we go back to Panorama, if we want to override this in this particular firewall, the remote site, we can go here, click on object A, and click override, and then change it to whatever we want it to be. We'll do 10.5. And then do a commit and push as well. And as you can see, we commit only on the RS device group, and we're pushing only to the RS firewall. And we'll let this finish and monitor it from the RS firewall. All right, that push is complete. We can go here and refresh and see that our address object is 10.5.11. Now let's say we want to prevent that from happening. We can go back to the original object, go in here, click Disable Override, click OK. It will throw an error because it has been override. There's an existing override in place. So we do need to go back, revert here at the bottom. Now we can go back to the original object and click Disable Override. For this, we'll just do a commit to Panorama. That commit has been successful. So now if we go back to the RS device group, we can select it, but the override option is no longer available. Let's go ahead and put it back the way it was. So I'm going to wrong device group. We're going to go back to global. we're going to remove disable override. We're going to go back to RS. We're going to override it with the original values we had, 10.5. Click OK. Then we're going to commit to Panorama again. Now we're back to where we were before. 10.5, 1.1 is the value here in RS1. We can go here and verify that with the refresh. It hasn't changed. So now let's look at if we wanted to make this disable override system-wide, we can go into the Panorama tab. And under Management, this Panorama settings box here in the corner, we can click the gears and we can check this box. Objects defined in Ancestors will take higher precedence. Click OK. We can go to Commit. And we'll commit this only on Panorama. Now if we go back to the objects, we can see the override is still in place, saying that the address is 10.5. Back in our global, the address is still 10.47. If we go to push to devices, we can push out the previous commit, which was that Panorama setting, to our firewalls. And we'll do that, and we'll monitor progress from the firewall directly under tasks. Now that that's done, we'll go here and refresh. And you can see that 10.47.1.1 has been pushed to the local device, as expected. Going back here, we verify that the RS1 overridden value is still 10.5. So that is an option as well. Not recommended, or think carefully before you do it in a production environment, as many things can change and you could end up causing yourself some problems. Thank you.